Hi, my name is Luke Womack with The Arena, and we help business owners break past revenue plateaus. I'm super excited. Today, I'm joined by Sarah. Sarah runs Art Deco Studios, which she started in August 2024. And today, we're going to be diagnosing what's going on with her new business, what isn't working, and figure out how to fix it so we can grow her business to the next level. Let's go. Hey, Sarah.
Hey, what's
How are
up?
you?
I'm good.
Good.
Happy to be here.
Glad to have you here. Okay, this is gonna be
Yeah,
fun.
thank you.
I'm so excited about your business, Art Deco Studios, and you started it in August 2024.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about yourself and also about your business. Like, what do you do with the business day to day, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so I'm from San Diego, born and raised. That's where I'm based out of. And my business is Art Deco Studios. So we're a mobile art studio and we teach art classes all over San Diego. And we partner with enrichment and activity directors. So that could look like private schools or public schools. And also we work a lot with senior care facilities. So we're getting to work in 1 week. I'm getting to work with 5-year-olds to 85-year-olds. So there's just this awesome scope of people that we get to interact with and teach art. And we do these specialty classes, whether it's painting, drawing, sculpture. And it's just such a beautiful thing to partner with these vendors and clients. So
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
So let me kick it off with a couple questions. Cool?
yeah.
All right, so first question, what is your dream?
I would say currently my dream is to take my business from what I would call maybe the minor leagues of something that feels a little bit or mom and pop, very small, humble beginnings, and grow it to something that's really just excellent. It's organized and it just sets a precedent, not only in my life with the team that I've built, but also the market that I'm in.
And what made you want to start a business? Have you ever run a business before?
No, I've never run a business before, but I used to work at an art studio in Newport Beach and just had the most incredible experience with my former boss. And so post-grad college, I had no idea what to do. No one would hire me. And so I found a niche in the market of something that I could start immediately with very little startup costs and just kind of dive in, really see if this would take off. And it did. I immediately started getting clients. And so it's just been a really great whirlwind of a year.
Isn't that cool? Like, you just jump into the market and you share with the market something that you love to do already. And the market tells you pretty quickly, like, we like this or we don't like this. And that's really, I think, the greatest way to discover if you have a business idea. Just go do something in the market, and the response of the market, the validation of the market, is effectively product market fit.
Exactly.
They're saying, yes, we like this, no, we hate this. So it seems like you found something with your company.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So how did this journey begin for you?
I would say it probably started with being an art major, so figuring out what I wanted to do, and I was already in a season of pursuing my degree. I'm an illustrator by trade, and so that's typically what I tell people, that's who I am, but what I do is I run a business, and so there's kind of two facets of that art experience. And yeah, I never thought that I would start a business. This was really not something I grew up dreaming about specifically, but then as I was just pursuing art and I graduated and looking at the next steps, I was really inspired by the people that I knew who had started businesses, and I thought, hey, if they can do it, maybe I can. Genuinely, with zero knowledge of businesses, I would search YouTube and look up how to start a business, and so that's just kind of how it all got started.
So I love how you started a business with something you're passionate about. And to be clear, like, I don't think people have to do that. You can start a company that literally has nothing to do with your personal interests. Like, I have friends who run like dry cleaners or like laundromats or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, they're not passionate about dirty laundry, but it's just a good business model. But every now and then you find someone who starts a business that really connects with some core passion of theirs.
Yep.
It does not have to be that way. When it is, it's really sweet. Mm-hmm. It sounds like it's something you really love to do and are gifted in. So yeah, I love that for you.
Thank you.
Let's talk about your customers. So who are you building Art Deco Studios for?
I'm trying to chase after kind of a lot of different people right now, and that includes the senior care facilities and some of those activity directors and also the private schools. And then I also have a part of my business because we're mobile, we move around a lot. So I've done some paint and sip classes with restaurants, with local bars and breweries. And so it's kind of really spread out right now. So that's just been a lot for me.
Sounds like you're trying to reach a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay, that may come up later. How do you serve your customers? Like, what offers are you putting in front of them?
Yeah, so typically when I introduce Art Deco Studios, I say we're a mobile art studio. We do birthday parties, paint and sips, and all different kinds of art classes. And so I'm really trying to reach people who care about art and who want to take art classes but don't have the means to set up a whole environment for these experiences. So I'm coming in not only with my expertise of the teaching and the art, but also the facilitating of all the palettes and the cups and the setup, tear down and the cleanup and things like that.
So this is like a art studio that's brought to you?
Yes.
So you don't have any retail store or anything like that?
No.
Okay, good. Don't get one. Not yet, at least. That's great. Okay, so how does a business make money? Walk us through the sort of revenue engine for the company.
The way that we generate money is basically just through events. So whether it's a one-off kind of paint and sip, or we have some of my schools that I work with, we have yearly or semester contracts, which is awesome. So we're having a rotational basis of classes that are in the fall and then the spring, and then we have summer. And so it just kind of keeps going. And so the weird thing though is that there's nothing that's really set in stone or organized. Every single person that I work with, it's an 8-week, it's a 15-week, it's a one time, it's a twice a month. It's very scattered, I'm not gonna lie. And so I think that can be very inconsistent. There's some months where I'm like, wow, I made a lot of money and we did a ton of paint events. And then other months, it's not as profitable. So it's very, maybe the word is volatile. It just is kind of up and down, so.
Peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I have ideas already. Let's keep going. So show me the numbers. Talk to me about the dollars and cents.
Yeah.
Like what sort of revenue, profits, et cetera, over the last, say, year or so since you started it?
Yeah, so probably so far we're at about 60 to 65K in revenue, which I'm actually really happy with. And I know that for some people you might hear that like, that's a low number, but the year before I was a full-time nanny and I made 30K in a year. So already 6 months into this year, I doubled what I made just working for someone else. And so that's really encouraging to me. But what happens with the finances is that I work basically by myself. I have one art teacher that works for me and she makes a 50% commission. So let's say if we have a paint and sip class, it's $40 per adult. And so let's say we have 10 people, that's $400. And if she teaches it, she gets $200 and I get $200. That goes back building into the business. If I teach it, it all goes back to me. But I'm kind of in a weird place right now where I'm not technically paying myself. I just kind of send all the money to my business bank account and then leave it there. And so, I mean, I am married, so I don't really need to throw it over into my personal account right now. But the money finance thing is a bit of a gray area that I know I need to fix. It's not good.
Not making money from your business early on is super normal and it gets very old eventually. So one of the things I'd love to figure out today is how to build that revenue engine for you so that moving forward, if you want to take a draw from the business, you can. But super normal at the beginning to be like, I'm putting all the money back into the business. And grateful that you have a spouse who helps provide for the needs. So that's awesome. Okay, so how are you spending your time right now? Like walk me through a typical week for Sarah. What are you doing for the business day to day?
Yeah, so I kind of see my daily or weekly schedule as split into two sections. So one is going to be kind of the work from home admin. I'm sitting on my computer just furiously working and emails and building the business side of it. And then the other half, maybe the second half of the day, about by 2 p.m., I head out and I'm going to teach an art class. So I kind of have both sides of that. You wear a lot of hats, obviously, as a business owner or a starter, and you're working nonstop. I think back in January, I'd be on my computer until 8, 9 o'clock at night, reaching out to schools. So typically if I wake up in the morning, I'm checking my emails, I'm getting any classes prepped, I'm looking ahead at the schedules, signing contracts of, okay, we got this school, how are we gonna start providing these art classes for them? And then the second half would be making the actual art projects, packing up my car with all the art supplies and driving to the school and teaching the kids. So it's very flip-flop back and forth with those different hats I have to wear.
So every business owner starts as a sombrero lady. Sombreros are cool, but you're wearing these like awkwardly large hats and they're all different sizes and different shapes and you stack them on top of each other, right?
Yeah.
And when you start a business on your own, you're wearing like 25 of them, meaning I'm doing everything in the business.
Yes.
And it's awkward because one of those hats probably fits you really well, maybe two, but the rest are such a weird fit, yet they're still on your head. And so as you grow a business over time, what you do is you hire someone and that sombrero fits them. You say, why don't you wear this sombrero or 2 or 3? And at the beginning, your small team, they're all wearing a couple sombreros. And so everyone's effectively a generalist at the beginning of starting a company. And once a company gets big enough, say you have 8 to 10 team members, you look around, you're like, everyone's wearing like 1 to 2 sombreros. And then it gets bigger than that. You have 25 to 50 employees. You're like, oh, everyone's wearing one. So over time, businesses really move from being a group of generalists or one generalist to being a group of specialists. So you're starting a business, you're a generalist, you're wearing 15 sombreros. welcome to the club. So what feels stuck right now in the business?
For me right now, I would say I'm just kind of doing everything. So it's pretty overwhelming. I'm trying to do the finances and the art classes, and I'm kind of running around, like you said, with a lot of different hats on. And so that's been the hardest thing, because basically if I don't show up, I don't have a business. I am my business, and I don't want it to be that way, but I don't exactly know how to get out of that system, because I started it and I'm just here with my little business and I'm growing Art Deco, and then I don't exactly know how to not be in the center of it.
So what you're saying is you don't really have a business machine yet, you have a job, more or less.
Yeah.
You didn't like that. Okay, let me dig into that a little bit.
Okay.
So on paper, you have a business.
Right.
And this is how every business starts, by the way. But if you were to try to go to market and sell your business, do you know what you would get for it?
Nothing?
Zero.
Okay.
Right? Because effectively, without you, the business doesn't run.
Yeah.
So that person, if they bought your business, they would have to buy you with it.
Right.
And if you leave, then they got to do the business. So they're effectively buying a job, right? But this is how every business starts.
Mm-hmm.
As you grow the business, you build the machine and the systematization of the business. Then you can leave, the business still happens, and that's when you move from having a job to having a company that has enterprise value, and you get a little bit of your freedom back, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to move toward.
Okay.
Okay, last question. What do you know that you need to do? Like, what are you convicted about? This is the thing I need to do, even if you haven't done it yet.
I really need to do less. And I think I've put myself into classes and new clients, and I'm signing myself up for too many things. So I need to replace myself. And I do have one teacher who works under me, but that's really not enough, because I'm still teaching the same exact amount and I'm doing all the business stuff the same amount. So probably find a way to create more margin. I don't know if that means I have to hire someone else, or even find someone for the finances, because I'm not good at that. Mm-hmm. It's pretty tough for me. Okay,
so I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what the company's facing right now. Number one, you're overwhelmed because you're doing everything. By the way, perfectly normal for a new company. Number two, you have a good business model. It's just a new one and it's underdeveloped. Is that fair?
Yeah.
The market has paid you, so this is a validated business model, right? This isn't an expensive hobby, right? Like some people are like, oh, I have a business. It's like, have you made any money yet? They're like, well, technically no, but I will. Like, you've actually made money from this. Revenue's coming in, which is good. So there's a validated business idea. You're in what I would call launch stage, which is 0 to 200,000 in revenue, which is awesome. That's actually my favorite stage of business, because it's super exciting and possibilities are endless. There are people who run companies that are multiple stages ahead of you that would trade places with you if they could do it over and do it a different way. So you're in a great spot right now. Yeah. And I believe to reach, and we'll get into this, but to reach startup stage, that next stage, that's 200,000 to 500,000 in revenue, you need some business infrastructure, which we'll talk about. And I think your bottleneck sits inside strategy, right? So if we can figure it out, specifically your go-to-market strategy, it's gonna take work to get there, right? So you're gonna be spinning your wheels a little bit more. But once you get there, I believe it's going to give you some of your time and some of your freedom back.
That would be great.
Yeah. Ready to work on that?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. So I believe the way that a business grows is by getting its organization healthy. And I believe there's 6 systems of a healthy organization. I'll just briefly go through them. First is focus. That's clarity on where the organization is headed and how you get there. Strategy, that's more about your go-to-market. So how are we engaging with the marketplace? Third is cash. What do you do with money when it's coming into the business, once it's there and as it's going out? Fourth is team. Obviously you don't have a team yet, but at some point we'll need to think about, how do I develop a healthy team culture that's high trust, that causes everything to move faster? If you have a low trust culture, a high suspicion culture, it slows everything down. The speed of trust is one of the things that can help your business grow faster, almost more than anything else, once you have a team. Fifth is rhythms. So that is, what are you doing every day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year to reinforce the focus of your organization? And then finally, tools. How are you getting the job done? What is your hardware stack? What's your software stack? Your paintbrushes, your colors, all that stuff, right? So today what I want to do is focus on strategy. So I believe that these 2 systems here, so focus and strategy, represent your sort of foundational systems for the company. I don't want to spend too much time on focus yet. A little bit further down the road, I want to clarify for you, what is your vision? What is your mission? What are your objectives? Right now, you're just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And so if someone's drowning and you want to have like a deep conversation about the future, they're like, please save me first, and then we can talk about that. So obviously you're not drowning, but you're embedded in the day-to-day of the business. It's crazy. So I want to figure out strategy. I want to figure out 3 things in particular. Number 1, I want to figure out your market. I want to have a bit more clarity for you, Sarah, on who it is that you're selling to. When you were talking about market, you mentioned, I think, like at least 3 different markets, and it sounded like you're selling to a lot of different people. Do you feel like there's a lot of people in the mix?
Yeah, it's a ton of different people, and I would say almost every age range. Kids,
that's right,
adults, and seniors, so it's kind
5-year-olds to 85-year-olds.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot in the mix. So I want to work on that first. The second thing I want to work on is prices. Based on what you're sharing, I have a suspicion that you might have a price issue. And if we can solve that price issue, I think it'll help you to be more profitable, get a little bit of your life back. We'll talk about that. The third thing I want to talk about is fixing your sales process. And this might be the biggest one, but from what I was hearing is you're sort of grinding and trying to fix everything, working hard every single day, trying to get another sale. I have a suspicion that your sales process is either broken or maybe even non-existent.
Yeah.
And so I want to name what your sales process is, even if you've never really named that before, and then figure out how to solve for that so that process can be super smooth and bring more customers in the door. So we're going to jump into market, prices, and sales. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. First thing I want to do is talk about market. A target market is an answer to the question, who are we selling to? And this is really the first question inside of the strategic domain, right? If we can get all 6 of these systems functioning, I believe revenue grows most years. And the most important question to decide a strategy is, who are we actually selling to? Before we decide how to get customers, before we decide what we're going to sell, who are you actually selling to? So let's go back real quick. I'd love to have you name those 3 customers, and as you name them, I'll write them.
Yeah, well, first we have the schools or private schools. Paint and Sips, I guess that's just general public or kind of your average Joe. And then we have the senior care.
Okay, so you have 3. So you have schools that you're selling to, and that's like after school or in school programs?
After school programs.
Okay, so after school programs, you have Paint and Sips. That's people show up, they have a glass of wine, they learn how to paint.
Yep.
Is this at people's houses? Where is that?
It could be at people's houses, private events, or it can also be at restaurants, so public as well.
Okay, all right. And then the last one, it sounds like, is senior living, senior care. Okay, so you have schools, you have Paint and Sips, and you have senior care. So what I'd like to do is walk through a super simple model to evaluate the health of each of these markets. Now, as a principle, when you're under $1 million in revenue, you want to sell one thing in one market. The problem that a lot of entrepreneurs have is they start this great company and they're like, I'm so excited, I'm gonna come up with this product, and then you meet someone, they're like, hey, can I buy that product except could you tweak this thing? And you're like, oh sure, no problem. You tweak it, you give it to them. Yeah. Someone else totally different comes to you, says the same thing. Before you know it, you're selling 10 products in 10 markets and you're not really doing a great job at any of it. And it comes from a place of wanting to just like meet the market, listen to the market, because we're told, listen to your customers, right?
Yeah.
One of the best things you can do early on is know who you're not selling to. And by the way, there's 8 billion people in the world. You are not Coca-Cola. You're not going to be selling to most people.
Yeah.
So by defining your target market, you're actually saying no to like 99.9% of humanity. And that's great because that 0.01% of humanity is going to say, wow, Sarah just read my mail. She knows exactly what I want to buy. She studied my market and I'm in. And so it reduces friction in your process. So what I'd like to do is evaluate each of these 3 markets that you're selling to through the lens of what makes a great market. So there's 4 things that make a market great. And to be clear, not every market is good, right? Some markets are super rough. They're hard to sell to. It's like no matter what you do, how good your sales process is, how good your offer is, the market says no. So I'm going to tell you what makes a great market and what makes an average or a poor market. The first thing that a market needs, and I would argue the most important thing that a market needs, is pain. That sounds super weird, like why would I want people to have pain? Well, they have it anyways, you're just marketing to them. You just gotta discover what it is. If there is no pain in a market, there's no gain for you. So we gotta figure out what is that pain. Let me give you an example. Like if I had a light tummy ache, it's like a 2 out of 10 pain. I could probably figure it out and not go to the hospital, right? Most people don't go to the hospital for a light tummy ache, it'll just go away. But imagine that I had a broken femur. I've never had one, but I heard it's pretty bad. So maybe the pain level is like a 9 out of 10, maybe a 10 out of 10. At that point, it doesn't matter what else is going on in my day. I'm not talking to you, I'm not talking to anyone else. I'm going to the hospital because I gotta get that thing fixed. The pain level is high. Now imagine if I'm trying to sell a solution to light tummy aches, it's gonna be really difficult. Imagine I'm trying to sell a solution to broken femurs. Now you're talking. That's a high pain market. Now, obviously I don't want anyone to have a broken femur, but when it comes to your 3 markets, we need to figure out how high is their pain point. Let me put this into real terms. Imagine that there was a market of, let's say, people who wanted to start a podcast someday. Yes or no, have you ever thought of starting a podcast even once?
I actually have a podcast.
She has a podcast, perfect. So you have thought of starting a podcast. Yeah. I've thought of starting a podcast. Probably most people watching this have thought of starting a podcast. Mm-hmm. Guess what? Everyone has. That's probably not a very good market because most people who think about starting podcasts, unlike you, do they ever start one?
Typically, no. You just throw it around.
They just sit on it because it's not one of the top 50 pain points during the day. So that would be a rough market to sell to if it was people who want to start a podcast someday, right? So that's pain. The next thing a great market needs is access. And what this means is you can access them. So you need to make sure with your market that you can answer the question, how can I talk to them? How can I reach them? And if there's not a way to reach them, even if they have a high pain point, they have a broken femur, if I can't get in contact with them, it's going to be impossible to sell to them. So imagine, for instance, your market is small family business owners who never answer their phone or their email or go on the internet, right? It's like, okay, that's an okay market on one hand. I like small family businesses, but I don't like the fact that they don't communicate with anyone, right? Like that'd be a difficult market. That'd be a low access market. Okay, third one is income. Now income answers the question, can they afford it? Can they afford your products or services? If someone has a high pain point, but they're broke, that's a bad market, right? You gotta have income and pain. So imagine, for instance, like, and this is no shade on the fitness community. I love fitness. I've had a personal trainer before, but think of like early stage fitness instructors, like in their early 20s. This is a market that probably has a high pain point. Let's say you're selling like marketing services to them. They're like, great, I need that. Low income, right? A lot of them are broke. They're just starting out. That's going to be a rough market to sell to. I love them. They love me. But it's like, I can't really sell to you because you don't have money to afford my marketing services yet, right? And the last thing that a great market needs is direction. What direction means is that the direction of that industry is positive. So think of, for example, like AI right now. That industry as a whole is just blowing up in the right way. It's up and to the right. Think of another industry like printing on paper, something like that. Like that'd be a market that is shrinking. If a market is growing, it has a tailwind. It's being pushed. And if a market is shrinking, it's like a headwind. It's being held back. And so you want to find a market that's actually growing. Imagine, for instance, you sell payroll services to brick and mortar DVD companies, right? It's like you're renting DVDs, you need payroll, and they're like, yeah, but I have less money every single week because no one's renting for me anymore, right? That could be a market that has high pain. You know where they are, the brick and mortar store. They have some income to afford your services, but the market's shrinking. So it's like no matter how hard you try, that's not going to be a good market for you. So I'd like to just briefly evaluate each of these, right? Let's talk first about pain. So schools, how high is the pain point for schools?
I would say it depends, probably medium to high.
That's plus minus, medium. So what is the pain point for schools?
It's really challenging the gap between when the school bell rings and parents get out of work. There's this gap of time where they want their child to be doing something good and exciting and interesting, but do they need to go pick their kid up and then take them somewhere else and then pick them up again? But if they work until 5, both parents are working outside of the home, that's really challenging. So I'm going to the schools and bridging that gap.
So I'm a parent, I work until 5, my kid's off school at 3, what do I do? And so you can step in and help. Okay, so medium or maybe even a medium high pain point. What about these paint and sip events? Like how high is the pain point for that market?
I'm not gonna lie, I would probably say there's no pain point.
That's low?
Like it's kind of just extra. Like people can do that if they want, but I mean, you know, being from San Diego, there's so many things to do. There's so many restaurants and activities. I guess you could say it's a very like oversaturated market. But honestly, like you could kind of just go on YouTube and like look up a paint class and even kind of do it yourself.
So you have like a discretionary offer for a market that already has a ton of stuff to do. It's a low pain point. What about senior care? How high is the pain point for that group?
It's pretty high.
Okay. What is the pain point?
So let's say you're 50 to 60 years old and your aging parent needs to go into a home. You want them to be somewhere that they're not just sitting in a chair watching TV, wasting time, because you're paying this business a lot of money to look after your parent. And so you're looking for something that provides a well-rounded experience where they're engaged, they're doing things that are interesting, and they're not just kind of pushed around, but they're actually being invested in. So I think it's pretty high.
That's good. So the pain point is not just for seniors, but it's also for their adult children that are caretakers, and probably also for the person running the facility, right? So there's
yes,
like a
exactly.
trio of painters.
So that I just come in and do it for them versus they would have to buy all the art supplies, set up the class, come up with a project. I just come in and help them.
That's good. Okay, this is good. We spent the most time on this because pain is the most important, right? If we have a low pain point, wink, wink, maybe not a good market, even if everything else is strong. So we're alluding to maybe what's about to come. Let's talk about access. Let's breeze through this one. So basically, how easy is it to identify the people that you're selling to? So whoever that is for schools, how easy is it to find them? Is it super easy? Okay, so you just find the school online, look at the directory and call that person, right? Okay, super easy. What about paint and sips? Like how easy is it to access those customers?
Also low, like very difficult, I'd say.
All right, what about senior care? How easy is it to access?
Super high. Yep.
It's kind of like schools,
yeah, it's
right?
pretty much, it's almost the same, I'd say.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities between these two, which is interesting. What about income? How much money do schools have to afford your services?
Well, schools and the parents, a lot.
I know these private schools or public?
Right now it's just private.
Okay, private. So who's paying? Is it school paying or is it parent paying?
Parent.
The parent is paying. Interesting. So the school is sort of the conduit. That's who you sell to, but they're actually making a decision for something they don't have to pay for. It's just a value add for their customer, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. And they've already sort of found your customer for you, which is interesting too. Okay, what about paint and sips? How much income typically do these people have to pay?
I would say most people have a pretty disposable income if they're doing events like this, paint and sips.
Yeah.
Pretty high, yeah.
Pretty high, that makes sense. And what about senior care? So for events like this that you're hosting, how much income does senior care have to pay for this?
I would say it's like a medium in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Right, they have a budget they're trying to maintain. They're not passing on the cost to seniors like schools are. They're passing it on to the parents. So that's a little different,
they
right?
have a fixed budget, yeah.
What about the directionality of the industry? So schools, private schools that are interested in having events like this per se, is the number of those schools growing or shrinking or kind of staying the same?
In some ways it stays the same, but in other ways it's growing. I mean, I'm with a school right now that they don't even have an art teacher. And that's a private school that's really well known. So it depends, but I think it's definitely still growing.
Okay, so somewhere in the middle, maybe growing in certain places. What about paint and sip? So specifically, people in that market who are interested in paint and sip events, is the number of those people growing, shrinking, or staying the same?
I don't know. I think it's staying the same.
Okay, we'll call it plus minus right in the middle. And then last one, senior care. The directionality of senior care facilities that are interested in hiring extracurricular activities, for instance. Growing, shrinking?
Growing.
Okay, growing, cool. Awesome. Okay, now we have an analysis of these three markets that you're serving. What do you notice right off the bat?
The paint and sip is pretty negative.
Hello, look at this. So you have a market here who has a low pain point and they're difficult to find. How easy do you think it would be to sell to them?
Not easy.
Okay, so this market, no offense to people who love paint and sips, that's a loser market for you. Okay, talk to me about schools. How does that market look to you?
Market's good.
Market looks pretty strong overall, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a plus. Like they have a mid pain point, which might be higher for certain schools.
Yeah.
Easy to access and they have money to pay for it.
Yep.
What about senior care? How does that market look?
Market looks good as well.
Good gracious, like that's your best market right there.
Yeah.
Right, if you can get the pricing right for them, I mean, you're talking about high pain point, easy to access. That's a growing market, so to speak. And also the population is aging as well.
Right.
People are living longer.
Yeah,
So there's gonna be more senior care facilities in general. So that's a hot market right there. So what I'd like to do right now is try to figure out what your market could be. Now, I think the best way to write your target market statement is we help Avatar solve problem. I think one of the problems you have right now is that your paint and sip market is no bueno. I'm gonna recommend that you just stop doing those altogether.
Okay.
How's that make you feel? Does that freak you out? Does that scare you?
That's like a bummer because it's on my business card. So I would need to get a new one, but it's honestly kind of the one part of my business that I don't really like doing.
Interesting, so you don't even like doing this.
Yeah, it's like, it's so much effort and it's not a lot of, growth. That's like the smallest portion.
So why up until this point have you been selling to paint and sip?
I think because it's kind of flashy and like when you say that, and in my mind, that's still part of the art classes that I offer because I'm just showing up with my cart of art supplies, and so it's very versatile. So I just kind of plugged in like this and birthday parties and paint and sips and just kind of threw out all those options because some people, like you said, some people asked me, oh, hey, could you do this? Could you come and do this for us?
So interestingly, I love that you brought that up. Sometimes the market tells us the wrong thing to do for our business. It doesn't mean that this isn't a need. In fact, this market could be the right market for someone else, right? A different company with a different offer, they could say, actually, this group of people, however they define them demographically or psychologically, could be the right market, but for you, it's the wrong one. But you did that because this is sort of how you started, it sounds like, right?
Yeah.
Does leaving this feel sort of like a betrayal of how you started, or is that evolution something you're comfortable with?
A bit of both, but I think I would be more comfortable with it because I already don't feel as inclined to invest in it, and it just takes a lot away from my focus. It's just so difficult. I'd be calling these people from breweries and restaurants, drop my business card off and never hear back, and more of a pain in the butt, I think. So
I love that we're talking about this. I think this is primarily one of the reasons that startup companies in that launch stage stay there, because they face decisions like this where they're like, that's how we've always done it. That's called bureaucracy. Bureaucracy equals that's how we've always done it. And when we say that, and we know we need to change something, and it's clear we need to change it, but we don't, I think it's one of the things that keeps businesses small. So I totally hear that mixed emotion though, because you're like, this is kind of like my baby. This is how I started. You're gonna have a friend call you next week. It's like, Sarah, hey, Art Deco Studios, I love it. Can you do a paint and sip for my birthday? And maybe do it for your friend because you love her, but for the most part, you're gonna say, I don't do that.
Yeah.
Right? So that will actually change the conversation for you. Now, I think you have two great markets here. But let me ask you a question, because I think there's maybe a sneaky link between these two. What are some commonalities between schools and senior care?
There's a lot of people. They already have people that are going to that business, and it's a population, I guess, that will keep growing.
Both of these are institutions, right? Now, what are these two groups looking for?
Really quality partners that make them look better.
You are bringing enrichment to both of these groups, right? They already have their day-to-day curriculum set, but they're looking for something extra, right? Extracurricular.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think this is actually one market. So oftentimes we feel like if two groups have a different demographic, that they need to be two different markets. But last time I was at a sub shop, there was someone there who was 18 years old and someone there who was 75. The sub shop isn't like, oh, no, we only serve 18-year-olds. Of course, they're like, hey, you want a sandwich? You can come in. Guess what? That's their market. It's people in this geography who have the same psychographic. That is, they love to eat sandwiches. Okay? Different ages, doesn't matter. So I think for you, even though this is a different demographic, it's seniors and it's also young people in schools. Different demographic, same psychographic. That is, the people that you're selling to both want enrichment. So let me propose something to you. I think that we could call your market, I love the word institution, because it helps you not do this.
Yeah.
That is not an institution, that's individuals, which is fine, but not your market. I think it's institutional enrichment, which is what they're looking for. And then let's bring in what you provide, partners. These people are looking for partnership. They don't want to do the extra work of coming up with stuff for kids to do from 3 to 5. Whoever's the facility care manager there doesn't want to come up with all this extra stuff to do. They already have a job. They're stressed. They're overwhelmed already. So if you come in, your market is institutional, enrichment partners, and you bring enrichment ideas to them, I think you can even stack other institutions here eventually. I'm not saying you add more verticals here, but I think that is actually one market. How's that feel?
I didn't realize that they were more similar, because in my mind they were three separate areas. I have to do those three entirely differently, but that makes a lot of sense.
So this is target market. We hit number 1, so we're going to check the box on this. But my recommendation here is eliminate the paint and sip market altogether and start going after institutional enrichment partners first, private school, senior care. Sound good?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we talked about market. Now I'd like to move to pricing. So first I'd like you to tell me, what do you charge? And let's focus on those two markets. So for senior care and for schools, what are your price points?
So for schools, it's right around $26 per kid per class. That would just be like the start.
Okay, and what about for senior care? What's your price point there?
That is $125 blanket cost for 1 hour.
So you said
125.
125 per hour. And how long are your classes?
They're an hour.
Okay, so it's 125 a class effectively,
yeah,
right?
Pretty much.
Irrespective of the number of people?
Yeah.
School is 26 per kid. How many kids are typically in a class?
Upwards of 10, so typically 12.
So you're getting like,
plus,
call it $300 a class. Is that fair?
Yeah.
300 per class. Okay, so 300 a class, 125 a class. And how long are these? Are these an hour also?
An hour also.
Okay, good. So higher price point on the schools, and then a little lower on senior care. So tell me about your last 10 sales. Last 10 sales, schools, senior care, either one. How many of them said yes?
I would say almost every single one. I probably had 1 or 2 no's.
So you went 9 for 10, something like that?
Yeah.
How's it make you feel?
It makes me feel good.
Good.
Yeah.
90% close rate. That feels awesome, right?
Yeah.
So I want to flip the script for you.
Okay.
90% close rate means something's wrong. And that feels weird because it's like 90% is like an A minus. I feel like I'm crushing it.
Yeah.
Okay. Your close rate is actually a pricing diagnostic, and it effectively can help you figure out if your prices are right or not. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're closing at like 40 to 100%, which you are. You're at the top end of that, right? If that is the case, you have low prices. How does that range feel to you as we talk about a 40% close rate being too low of prices?
The way that I would understand that would be a negative thing.
Feels like you're losing,
because,
right?
Yeah, because people are saying no to you.
So 6 out of 10 times you are hearing no and it feels like a loss. Totally normal, okay?
Yeah.
Let's keep going. If you're at a 30 to 40% close rate, you probably have a perfect price. Let's keep going. If you are under 30%, that probably means you have a sales problem. Okay, so I want to hit this because this is like so counterintuitive. As creatures, we hate failure. And I'm no different. Like, I hate failing. It's the worst thing ever. I beat myself up forever. And so we hear a no in our sales process and we're like, oh my gosh, I only hit 90%. What about that last one? It's like, hang on, we're looking at this all wrong. What would happen hypothetically if you doubled your prices and you got half the amount of clients and made the same revenue? What impact would that have on you? So remember, you had half the close rate, but your prices were double, so you made the same amount of money. What changed?
I guess it would be the workload.
Half the work.
Yeah.
Right? So you made the same amount of money, but it's half the work. And I would argue that those are actually better customers.
They're willing to pay.
Exactly.
And they're engaged and they're the perfect market.
Totally.
Yeah.
Remember when we talked about your paint and sip market from earlier?
Yeah.
It doesn't, even though those people had money, it didn't sound like they valued your services.
No.
Right?
They didn't.
So that was a bad market for you. But if you were to raise your prices here, your close rate will go down for sure. And I would actually argue that that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
I think it would be really concerning to me because I want their business. I don't want people to say, like, I understand the trade-off, but what if I am partnering with someone and I have a lower price and then I grow it over time or increase it over time? I mean, is it probably not the best move? And should I just stick with something that's, a higher price and it's standard across?
Let me ask you this. Where are you in the market? So in terms of your price point, do you think you're high, medium, or low?
I think maybe medium to low. Low with the senior care, but medium with the schools.
Okay, so maybe low here, medium here.
Yeah.
So I would argue this, that if you are the low cost provider, eventually you're going to lose. And here's the reason. Someone else will come in eventually, if they haven't already, and they will charge less than you. So then what do you do to respond?
Also charge less?
Exactly. You lower your prices, and then what do they do?
Lower their prices.
Exactly. So this is a impossible battle for you to win as a small company, because that big company will come in and they will charge less than you, and they're going to win because they can do it across scale. Tiny margins across scale, and they'll be fine. For you, tiny margins, small scale, not going to work. And so for the most part, I'm going to encourage you to move to the middle or the upper middle of the market. You can even go to the top of the market if you want to do something super premium. But I think it's really clear just based on this diagnostic here, the fact that you're in this range tells me that your prices are way too low. Okay. So let me ask you this. What price point, let's start with senior care, do you feel like you could raise your prices to? And it would be a stretch, but you feel like you could say it without laughing.
Either 175 or 200. I don't know if I could go above 200 for an hour.
So that's a significant increase, right?
Yeah.
175 to 200 per hour.
Yeah.
Right? Or per class, same thing. So I don't know the exact math on that, but you're raising your prices by like 50 to 60%, something like that, somewhere in that range. That's a significant increase. What impact would that have on you and your business if you're making 50 to 70% more per class?
Well, I wouldn't have to have as many clients necessarily to match certain goals. But then also, if I had another teacher teach that, whatever they're making and then whatever I'm making is still more just across the board.
Didn't you tell me earlier you were a little bit overwhelmed with the business?
Yeah.
So this is a classic problem of which problem would you rather have? Both of them have problems with them. You could keep your prices exactly where they are at $125 per class, and you're going to have the problem of being overwhelmed. And if you were to increase the price to 175 to 200, you get a bit of your life back, so that's a trade-off. But now you have a new problem, and that is the problem of I have to say no to some people who genuinely want my services but can't afford my price point.
Yeah.
So that's a legitimate question for you. Would you rather have the problem of being overwhelmed or having to say no to some people?
Having to say no.
So I think that's your answer. So my recommendation to you is right away, increase your prices. And guess what? If it doesn't work and you hate working a little bit less, you hate serving a few less customers who value your service more, you can always lower your prices again. But I would try it for 6 months. Try this for 6 months, raise your price. My guess is that you're going to love this and wonder, why didn't I do this sooner? You'll get your time back, the quality of your client is going to go up, and I think over time as you get better, you can even raise your prices more than this. And you probably do the same thing with schools.
Yeah.
Cool?
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about market. So you're going to narrow your market from 3 to 1, and also you're going to raise your prices for that one market that captures both of these.
Yes.
You ready to move on to sales? All right, let's do it. Okay, so we've walked through target market. We've talked about prices, raising your prices. Third thing I want to talk about is sales. So do you have a sales process, or is it kind of just made up?
I do have a little bit of a process. It's slightly abstract, I would say. I mean, the first thing that I do if I'm trying to find new leads or reach out and get certain businesses as clients is I just do a ton of research. So I'm Googling, I'm finding their web pages, I'm finding where they're located, and do they have a program, if they have that listed on their website, and even seeing, okay, could this work out or maybe not? And then from there, I'm kind of keeping track of the name of the business, who I need to call, and that phone number. So I'll probably call and try to speak with their activities director or find the person of exactly who I'm trying to talk with and get their email. And if they end up speaking to me, I give them kind of like the cold call right there in that moment, elevator pitch, I guess you could say. And then if I leave a voice message, I get their email or something, I send the pitch like via email. And then if I get some kind of response, we just follow it up basically in between phone calls and emails, or I'll go in person. But pretty much all of my business is all from cold calling.
Yeah, so it sounds like you start by doing research. With both those markets, it's pretty easy to figure out who runs a senior care facility, who runs a school. And you talk to either the gatekeeper or sometimes you get right through to someone. So that's your cold call. I'm just, ring, ring, here I am. I want to sell this thing, right? Third, it sounds like there's some measure of follow-up. And then at some point, whenever you're allowed to, or they're interested in it or whatever, you kind of send a pitch via email, or you give it to them right on the phone if you can, but if not, you'll kind of follow up with that pitch. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So tell me, with this process, where do people fall off?
Probably the email. So if I don't get to speak to someone directly, then I probably won't hear back from them at all.
So there's a drop off here after that follow up where they may never hear your pitch. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. What is working about the process that you like?
Well, one, I guess research. It's the strongest beginning because I know very clearly they already have some kind of art program, or it's not really listed. And so I'll even say, hey, I saw your website. I like what your business does. I like what you stand for. So that even builds a trust and a relationship there because I genuinely am interested in that community. And I like the cold call, but I think it's a little tricky with the order. Sometimes it's a call and then an email and then a call and then I go in person. And I think in person works, but it's not sustainable because I'm doing a lot of things and I can't necessarily drive all the way somewhere just to hopefully talk to someone.
So I think I see what's happening with your process. This is the best part of it. So to name like what's good, your research process is great. Obviously, you're able to identify who you want to talk to, and it sounds like you get on the phone with either the gatekeeper of or the right person themselves. So that part's working, right? I think what's not working about the process is two main things. Number one, you're not offering any value up front. So anytime we try to sell to someone and we say, you should buy now, that's like the lead, there's no value for them up front. So I want to figure out how to load the front of your process, not the end, but the front with more value using a lead magnet. And then the second thing I'd love to figure out about your process is how can we make sure that the call to action happens more often? I want more people getting to hear. So if we can figure out both of those things, I think your sales process is going to improve. You already have a great market. You have a decent offer already. If we can just improve this, I think you're going to get more customers that are paying your high price. Cool?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the first thing. Let's begin to map this. I think down here, this just needs to stay. That's working. Nothing needs to change about your research process. What I want to do though with your cold call process, I want to split that into a couple parts. So let's split this. The first thing I want to do with your cold calls is I want to turn that into an initial contact that includes a lead magnet. So instead of calling to say, can I please speak with so-and-so? I would like you to buy now. I want you to call them and say, I'd like to speak to so-and-so because I have a free offer. So have you ever been to a pet store in the mall? You know, it's like the last shop in the mall, right before you walk out. And what do you do when you go in there?
You get to go and pet all the puppies and hang out.
Exactly. And you just you just got warm. Your energy just changed. You're thinking about puppies. Everyone loves to pet puppies, right? Have you ever heard of the puppy dog close? So if I ran a pet shop, here's what I would do. You're in the mall or a strip mall or whatever, retail center, and you have a pet store and no one really comes in to buy a dog. Maybe 5% of people, 10% of people. Most people come in to say hi to the puppies, right? They want to pet them, they want to hold them, and then they leave. Okay, if I'm the salesperson in that store, they walk in the store, I say, would you like to pet a puppy today? They're like, oh my gosh, yes, that's why I'm here. They go and pet the puppy and then they're about to leave, and here's what I say to them. Would you like to take the puppy home? And they say, oh, no. We're not here to buy a dog. And I would say, oh, I'm actually not here to sell you a puppy. I just wanted to know if you want to take the puppy home for free. Like, what does that mean? Well, we have a 7-day puppy visit program where you can actually take the puppy home for free for a full week. Just leave your credit card on file, obviously, so you don't steal the puppy. Yeah. And then at the end of the 7 days, just bring the puppy back. So like, I can do that? Yeah, absolutely. It's like renting a puppy for free. They're like, let's do it. What happens after a week?
They're going to want to keep
They fall in love with the puppy, right? No one brings the puppy back. You have their credit card and you just charge it at the end of the 7 days, right? So this all goes to show that if you can offer someone some value up front, that's free, that makes it like super easy for them to say yes to one smaller step, the likelihood they take that bigger step of the actual sale goes through the roof.
Yeah.
That's effectively called a lead magnet. You need a lead magnet where you're offering value to them that doesn't cost them all that much. So if there's a little friction in your sales process, what do you feel like a free offer, a free lead magnet could be for them that gets them to sort of try your product, so to speak, without paying for it yet?
I guess I would just say the first class is free. And then you can decide after if you want to work with us.
It's the puppy dog close.
Yeah.
So from your experience with schools and with senior care, once they actually participate in your sessions, how do they feel about them?
They love it.
Through the roof, right? People are stoked. That's exactly what you need to do. I think you need to have a free 1 month. So 1 month free. That's your puppy dog close. All you got to do is sign up for 1 month. I'm not even going to take your credit card. I'm not going to charge you anything. But I would just like you to experience how great my course is. They walk through it, they're hooked. And guess what? Not only are the students and the seniors excited about your course, but now the people who coordinate those courses are hearing from those people, or the parents are hearing from the students, or the activity director is hearing from their seniors, like, you got to do this more. I think they'll get hooked just like people get hooked with a puppy dog close. So research is good. Initial contact, let's keep that. What I'd like to do is right in here, introduce a discovery call. Now, if you talk to someone initially and they, you drop the 1 month free and they do it right away, fine. You can actually do this on the same call. But let's just say they're not ready. You're not getting buying signals from them. And they're saying like, hey, like, I don't know yet. Don't drop the 1 month free. Jump on a discovery call, right? And I would love for you to share a little bit about you, a little bit about the company, and you can drop that lead magnet here as well. So lead magnets effectively build trust. So at any point in the process, if you need to build trust, drop that in at any point during this process. And then I think the last piece is the proposal call. So this initial call, you might get them, you might get the gatekeeper, you might jump right into discovery. That's asking a lot about them, by the way. During the discovery call, I'm trying to figure out, who are you? What do you want? What have you done in the past? I'm asking them a bunch of questions about them. That's leading you into your proposal. At any point during any of these, you can drop your lead magnet. Now, this can be one call, but sometimes they need to be broken up. People are like, I only have 5 minutes. Okay, no problem. Like, let's just do an initial contact. I'll ask you a question or two. And always finish a call with the next step.
Okay, yeah, because I was gonna say, what happens exactly if I've made the initial contact and they don't really have time, but they wanna follow up? That's happened a lot where I've called and they seem excited and they're interested. I kind of throw out, this is who I am, this is what we do. And then they say that they're excited and then nothing ever happens after that. And it's just, they kind of, not that they ghost me, but I'm sure they're really busy. And then I'll call again and I don't really hear anything, I call again. So I guess maybe there's two questions there of, so yeah, that question at the end, and how do I, obviously I can't ensure that they're going to respond, but at what point do I kind of take them off of my list because they're really not getting back to me and they're kind of, I don't want to waste my time.
Great question. So first, the average buyer needs 11 touch points before they make a buying decision. The average salesperson gives up at 2. So I think one of the takeaways here, and a way to answer your question, is that we often are not nearly resilient enough in our sales process. We think we're bothering people, we're bugging them, they don't want to talk to us, etc. But if you call them and they pick up, they want to talk to you. So talk to them and be resilient. The second thing, during your sales process, make sure that at the end of every step, you get their agreement for the next step. So I don't want to finish a step in my sales process, finish the initial contact, finish the discovery call, etc., until I've said, I would love to talk with you again so that we can do X, so I could share with you about what we could do for your school or for your senior care facility. How about next Tuesday at 3 p.m.? Like, don't finish until you get their commitment for the next step. And they might push you off. They might say, oh, let me think about it. That's fine, but at least you tried. Because some people will say, next Tuesday at 3 works great. You can say, perfect, can I get your email? And send them a calendar invite right away. So linking your steps by getting commitments from them for the next step is one of the ways you can make sure that you don't have fall off in your process.
Okay.
So we have the research down. I think the cold call, splitting that up into initial contact, discovery call, proposal call, and trying to group those into one call if you can, get the one call closed, that's fine. But dropping this 1 month free along the way at the right times as a lead magnet to increase trust with them, I think is gonna work super well. I think the next thing that you need to do is sign the contract. You have already met them, you have asked them questions about what they need, you have pitched your solution. After that, send the contract. And what I would recommend doing, if you can, is actually drop that contract into the proposal call. So if you feel like they're ready, you're getting good buying signals during the discovery call, at the end of the proposal call, say, hey, I have the contract ready, can I send it to you right now? Remember, every single step, you get their commitment to the next step. And literally, as soon as you're done with that proposal, send them the contract within like 5 minutes, right? They're excited about what you're doing, they have a contract ready. And you know, if they're pushing back on that, you could give them the lead magnet without them signing a contract, but I'm gonna try to push people as far as I can until they say no. So if they're loving it, they're enjoying it, you talked about 1 month free, they're like, that's great, build it into your contract. And in your contract, there's a clause that effectively says, if you do the first month for free and you don't like it, we tear up the contract, right? If they get pushed back on that, fine. Don't have them sign the contract, give them the month for free and then come back to that later. It's fine to do that, you know, as soon as you give them the free month. And then I think the last step, and this is the last step really in any sales process, is closed won or lost. Effectively, I want to say for each person, that was a closed sale or it was a closed lost sale. Effectively, they said no. And you asked earlier about like how many times to reach out to people. I would keep reaching out to them until they say no.
Okay.
You want to move through the no's as fast as possible. No is the second best answer in sales, right? It's not the worst answer. The worst answer is crickets. The worst answer is no response. Yes is the best answer, obviously. No is the second best answer, which by the way, should be about 60-70% of the time, so you get a lot of no's. But you wanna move through those no's as fast as possible. Don't get crickets, get the no's so that you can get to the next yes.
Yeah, and I think there's been a lot of schools or senior care facilities and people that I've reached out to, and I'm kind of putting the ball in their court, but then I let it stay there. Like I've sent an email, maybe I do a follow-up, and then I don't hear anything, and I kind of just let it fall off of my to-do list of the things that I need to get done, because I'm like, yeah, they didn't get back to me. But the fact that you're saying 11, I think that there's more that I could do if I'm really trying to push for that, because I haven't heard a no, I haven't heard anything.
Well, and when we don't hear back, a lot of times imposter syndrome kicks in and it tells us lies. It tells us they hate me, they think I'm dumb, they don't like my offer, they don't want to sign up. What are they really probably thinking? Not about you.
They're busy.
Right? It's really narcissistic for us to think, oh my gosh, they hate me. They're thinking about me all the time. They're not thinking about you. They're thinking about their day-to-day lives because they have a lot going on. This is the most important thing to you. This is probably the 50th most important thing to them.
Right.
They probably don't hate your guts. They probably just have 49 things that are more important. So reach back out to them. Make sure that your number one priority moves from 50 on their list to number one on their list. And a lot of times, if they actually want that offer, they'll be grateful. They'll say, hey, thanks for reaching back out. Oh my gosh, I'm slammed this week, but we do want to move forward with you. Thanks for the ring. And they're like, oh, they don't hate me. They want to sign up. They just need a reminder, which is totally fine. Okay, so we have a new sales process for you. Before we had research, which we're keeping. Your cold call, we're going to break that up a bit. So it's not just you saying, ring, ring, please buy. It's you saying, ring, ring, I can give you 1 month for free.
Yeah.
If you can do a 1-call close, great. You could break that up too. You know, a 15-minute discovery call, a 30-minute proposal call, something like that could work great. And then as soon as that proposal call is done, if they say, yes, I'm interested, send them the contract via email and follow up relentlessly, right? I usually follow up every 2 to 3 days. It's not too aggressive. Don't wait a month.
Yeah.
Right? Wait 2 to 3 days, follow up, and then ultimately put hopefully 30 to 40% in closed one and 60 to 70% in loss. If you're putting too many in one after you've raised your prices, 6 months later, raise them again, raise them again, raise them again, until your closed one represents about 30 to 40% of your opportunities.
Okay.
How do you feel about this process?
It feels good, definitely foreign, and I think that there's a good amount of work that I would need to do to make that happen and to have it be that organized.
What's the main thing that you need to do so that this actually happens?
Probably just having a really clear understanding of what I'm asking. Just know exactly my offer, and then also probably just keeping track of all the people that I'm reaching out to. That's the hard thing for me right now.
Yep.
Of all these like random names of people.
So it seems like your 2 action steps are, number 1, build a pitch deck. So I think because you're calling people on the phone and having virtual meetings, having some type of digital pitch deck that's short, 5 slides, 10 slides, something like that you can use on the proposal call would be perfect. And the second thing is use a CRM. Do you know what a CRM is? Okay, customer relationship management. It's effectively a system that helps you keep track of everyone you're talking with, and it has, Kanban style, columns, right? So here's how it's going to look. Step 1, research here. Step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, 6, 6, etc. So you have an opportunity here that's in research. I have 3 opportunities in research right now. Guess what? I reach out to them initially. I move them to number 2. There they go, right? Oh, that person, I have a discovery call with them. Finish, right? Move it to number 3. So at a glance, you can see exactly what your sales process looks like all the way up until close won, close lost.
Yeah, I have so many Google Docs.
Of course you do.
It's a hot mess on my computer. Like all the tabs are open and I'm just like, this lady and this phone number, and I write the little notes and it's just so messy.
So what do you think that results in, having your whole process in spreadsheets and Word docs and notes on your phone?
It complicates everything, and then I really don't have any kind of formal process, and then that's how I just end up losing contact with people, because I'm like, oh, she never called me back. And then sometimes it's so much effort just to even figure out exactly who I was supposed to call that I don't even really do it. And then I'm like, well, oh well. So
if you follow this process, build a pitch deck, and get organized with a CRM, I think your sales are going to go through the roof. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. So Sarah, we have talked about 3 things today. Number 1, target market. You had 3 target markets. One of them, not a great market. You didn't even love working with them. And 2 markets seem somewhat similar. So we named a new market for you, institutional enrichment partners. That's who you're going after. 2, we talked about prices. You ready to raise prices? Okay.
Yeah.
Your close rate was so high, which feels good, because 9 to 10 people are saying yes, but actually that's an issue because it proves that your prices are probably too low. So the second thing you're gonna do is raise prices, and third thing, improve the sales process.
Yeah,
the easiest way to begin to get more sales after you do those 2 is just get really organized on your sales process and offer value a little bit sooner in the process. So instead of just saying buy now, you're saying have this for free.
Yeah.
Give them the puppy dog clothes, give them something for free. And I think a lot of people are going to fall in love with you and your business, and your sales are going to go up. So what are your action steps on each of these? Anything stand out that I need to do in the next 30 days?
Definitely, as far as just on my computer, the software that I'm using, get that a little bit dialed in of organizing and figuring out like the CRM of finding something that can help me categorize things instead of just trying to do it all on my own. So that's a big one. Like you said, raising prices. So I'm in a position right now where something's already set in stone for the next couple of months. So the next time I'm able to change my prices and change whatever that is, I'll do that. And then sales process. And I think it's interesting because it's so foreign to me because my expertise isn't in business and it's not in running a business, it's in art. And so these are things that I genuinely, as you were explaining them, I never would have thought of them. This isn't what I do. So it's just super helpful. And I really appreciate your help. It's just awesome.
Of course. So Sarah, if someone wants to get a hold of you, if they're like, hey, my kid is in private school and my kid's school needs this, or, you know, I have a grandparent who's in a senior care facility who like really needs access to, you know, your company, like how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, I'd say the best place to go would be on my website. It's artdeco-studios.com. All of our information is on there. There's some photos, there's an explanation, there's a little bit about me and my background, and then there's a way to get more information. You can fill out your name, your email, get direct contact. It goes directly to my inbox. And if anyone's interested in having our services come to, whether that's their school or even if it's a community group or some kind of like yacht club, a place where people gather and they're looking for something that can connect them and create something really special and really beautiful, feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Today we did the hard work of working on the business so you could break past your next revenue plateau. And as an encouragement to you, if you just grow your revenue 25% every year, which is totally reachable, you will double your revenue every 3 years.
Wow.
With you raising prices, fixing your sales process, and being clear on target market, I think you can grow by a lot more than 25%. But either way, I'm super proud of you. I think your company is going to grow, and I think you're just about to break past that next revenue plateau.
Sweet.
Killing it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Cool.
Thanks so much for joining us today as we worked on Sarah's business. As you could see, there was some really low-hanging fruit for her. And I believe if she just works on the 3 things that we talked about, her business is really going to grow. Growing companies is complex, but it's actually quite simple. If you enjoyed what you saw today and you want to grow your business as well and break past your next revenue plateau, check out some of the free opportunities we have at thearena.network. We also run virtual revenue labs where you can join me and fix your business in real time. Check out the link for that below as well. Hope you have a great day, and thanks for joining us.